Hello and welcome back everybody. It's Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. What would you do if your son suddenly tells you that he thinks his mother is seeing someone else? You never believe him, but later you find out he was right. It's time we listen to this story with all the updates. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel.
My name is Hector, and I'm 47 years old, Puerto Rican. I think the abbreviation is STBXW, Debbie, and I were married for 26 years. We were together for 30. We have gotten married in our senior year in high school when she got pregnant with our firstborn. I was lucky enough to get a job at UPS right after graduation, but we struggled in the beginning. She's from a traditional Irish family, and they hated me at first, but I won them over. Especially her father. I made sure she didn't have to work. By the time we were 27 years old, we had 5 kids, 4 girls and a boy. I was just fortunate that the boy came out first. We had our arguments over money, discipline methods, and me complaining about the lack of intimacy. I understood, we have 5 children and they can be very exhausting. I tried to help as much as I could, but she was still tired. However, she was my everything. She always kept her body in shape. I try as well, but being a delivery driver for a very long time, I'm what they called skinny fat. I have a muscular chest, arms, legs, but I have a sloppy gut. I got the horseshoe hairline that caused me to shave it off. Yet, Debbie was my everything. There were times she was verbally offensive towards me, and whenever I had enough and lashed back, she became a crybaby, and I just gave up.
As the years went by, they were the only married couple in their friend group. Every last one of them got divorced.
Out of our 7 married couple friends, 5 were caused by infidelity on the wife's part. 1 was on the husband's part, and the last one they divorced because she friend-zoned her husband. I was against my wife hanging out with her newly single friends. However, that would just start a massive argument about me controlling her, keeping her as a prisoner, and my personal living play doll. All of that caught me by surprise. The more she hung out with them, the more resentful she became. The kids took notice. I remember my son and 2 of my daughters arguing with her when I came home. And as much as I understood their frustration, I scolded my kids for yelling at their mother, and when they left the room, I confirmed their issue, and she told me that we see her as a slave. I asked her where this was coming from, but she said forget it, shut down, and walked away. I remember D-Day so vividly. Debbie was out with her friends. I was in the kitchen cooking, the kids were watching Train to Busan, and my 3 oldest came to the kitchen. I thought they came to check on the food, but they all had a concerned look. Before I asked what the issue was, my son told me that they think their mother was seeing someone else. Of course, at first I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I yelled at them and told them I was going to prove they were wrong.
OP turned on Where's My iPhone app and saw that she was at a bar on the outskirts of the town. He got into his vehicle and went straight to the bar.
When I arrived at the bar, it was crowded, but I saw her circle of friends in the corner booth acting like drunk idiots. When I approached them, they all turned pale, and that unsettling feeling hit my stomach. Since I didn't see her in the bar, I went outside and walked around the parking lot. There was a car in the back corner. It looked like the man in the driver's side was sleeping, a man who I thought was my friend. I approached the car to ask him if he had seen my wife, but when I got closer, it was obvious that he was getting a BJ, and the closer I got, the more I recognized the woman in the car. I was practically standing by the driver's side window, and none of them noticed me. I lost it. I broke the window, dragged him out, and I wasn't civil. Debbie was screaming sorry over and over. I was yelling at her while kicking him. Cops showed up soon after, and I was arrested. I spent a week and a half in county. I had to go into the infirmary because I thought I was having a heart attack, but it turned out I was suffering from broken heart syndrome. The news of what I did spread like wildfire, and eventually my father-in-law bailed me out. The man was practically in tears when I stepped through those gates. He profusely apologizes to me for his daughter's actions. During the drive home, he told me he spoke to my manager and union rep about the situation, so I can still keep my job. He said that the kids had been staying with him and Debbie was waiting for me in the house. He said he knows what was going to happen, which is why he brought the truck. He was right.
When they got to the house, Debbie ran towards OP, crying and tried to hug him, but he pushed her so hard that she fell onto the ground.
She looked at me with shock. I told her to get her stuff out of my house and I want a divorce. She tried to fight it, but her father convinced her otherwise. An hour after they left, my mother-in-law came with the kids and I hugged them all for dear life. She apologizes for her daughter's actions as well before leaving. Now, in my state, there's mandatory couples counseling before granting the divorce, which, in my opinion, is complete BS. I don't understand why I have to go to counseling if she cheated. At the beginning of the sessions, I just sat there, listening to her dribble. That is exactly what it was, dribble. Blame shifting on the fact we were young parents, and she never experienced the wild lifestyle, the freedom, and she got carried away. She got lost in it, and her friends encouraged it. Soon, she felt like she was missing something, so she started a fling. The counselor tried on a few times to make it my fault, telling me that I should have allowed her to spread her wings every once in a while and how I needed to see it from her point of view. I just looked at the woman and asked the counselor if she was smoking crack because that was the dumbest thing that could have come out of her mouth.
OP asked her how long she was cheating on him. She said 4 months and insisted that AP was the only one. She also said that it was a mistake and they could get past this because they have a history.
So I asked her more questions. Who initiated, you or him? How many times, etc., etc. Did they fall asleep together? Through her stream of tears, she answered them honestly, and I was quiet for a long while. The counselor tried talking to me twice during this, and I raised my finger. I thought about everything we did before, and during her relationship window, the laughter, the conversations, intimacy, everything. And there was no inkling of her being sad or angry. We were just being us. When I finally did speak, I brought up the times we were intimate during that window. I called her. The counselor tried to correct me, and I told her to shut up as I continued to call her every name in the book. Eventually, I told her she was tainted in my eyes. Again, the counselor and Debbie tried to convince me that our history and relationship can get past this mistake, and I didn't want to hear it anymore. It was like they didn't care about my feelings on the matter. It was just about forgiving her and what I can do to get over it and apologize to her for making her feel like a servant. So I walked out. This contested divorce has been a long uphill battle for the past 2 years. Debbie is still trying to make things right, still trying to get us back together. I don't know why, because our conversations are strictly about the kids, and when she tried to talk to me about something else, I hang up on her. Family gatherings are consisted of me avoiding her or not showing up at all. Our oldest children refuse to talk to her. I tried to make them spend time with their mom, but they refuse, and I have chosen to respect that. My in-laws are at my house weekly, and I know that they have been trying to make their daughter give me my divorce, but that has been a bust. My mother-in-law has been especially rough on her, calling her a dumb brat, gossiping about her to her congregation. I had to ask her to stop because I didn't want the whole town to know our business.
During the first year, OP's son and daughter created a Tinder account for him.
I thought it was dumb. I'm a middle-aged man with 5 children who has a dad bod. Yet, I have been on over a dozen very successful dates that have been a real confidence booster. Recently, I met someone during my court issue community service. Her name is Isabel, and she was our Habitat for Humanity supervisor. She's drop-dead gorgeous and won first place for a Vanessa Marcil lookalike contest at a soap opera convention that she attended with her daughter. That's how we started talking. My daughters love watching General Hospital, and I sat with them. To me, this is one of the few times I get to spend with them. I introduced her to the kids 6 months in, and they instantly took a shine to her. To make things really awkward, my son and her daughter appear to really like each other. However, Debbie is not letting go. She actually told our youngest 2 children that eventually we will get back together. I had to tell her to stop telling them this. Her father is trying to make her go see a therapist, but I just want this over already. I don't regret my years with Debbie. I have 5 wonderful kids with her. I man up and build a life for her. My only regret is that she ruined 26 years together on a fling. I regret that she thought she had me in a way that I was just going to let it slide and take her back. However, I do hate her. When I run into her old group of friends around town, I openly call them whores instead of their names. That love and respect that I had for her disappeared when I caught her in that car. She will always be the mother of my children and nothing else. I just hope that she can come to terms with that.
End of part 1. We have the update coming up next, but before that, if you like what you heard so far, please give this video a thumbs up so this video will reach more and more beautiful people like you around the world. Now, here is the update. For the past month, my ex has been a bit erratic. She had several physical altercations with her old friends. One of them got a broken nose, one had a busted lip, and the last one was shoved out of the Circle K. Each time the police were called, and considering how small our country was, they just took her to her parents' house. On Saturday, we all showed up at my in-laws' anniversary party, and I went there with Isabella because we were officially dating. Debbie appeared off, so I pulled her to the side, and it was the first time I had actually spoken to her. She told me how sorry she was. She told me that she couldn't understand why she didn't tell her old friends to back off. She told me that she destroyed our family, and seeing how I am with Isabella only made her miss me more, and she wished she appreciated what she had. When she said that, I felt fear in the pit of my stomach, or maybe it was anxiety. I should have kept asking if she was all right, but I was blindsided when Debbie formally apologized to Isabella for her actions and asked her to keep me happy because I'm a good man who deserves a good woman. During the party, Debbie went to each of our kids and I could see them making peace with her. They were talking and laughing, even posed for a few pictures. Isabella and I were having a great time, and for once, I thought about having a cordial conversation with Debbie. It was 3 in the morning when I got the call. My sister-in-law was screaming in a panic. I could hear my mother-in-law crying, and then I heard my brother-in-law trying to calmly tell me that Debbie had tried to end it and they were on their way to the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, my in-laws were not well. She lost a lot of blood and was in surgery. My father-in-law and I donated blood for her since the hospital was short on her blood type. My son couldn't be a part of the operation, but he observed the surgery. All of my daughters were not doing well. My younger 3 daughters were pacing around, and when my son left the OR, he told us she was going to be all right, and when I hugged him, he collapsed into my arms, crying. I wanted to cry as well, but I had to be strong for them. Last Sunday, my mother-in-law found a few notes that Debbie had left. She wrote one for each of the kids and a thick one for me. In my envelope, there were signed divorce papers and an 8-page letter of apology. The letter just reinforced that she was never unhappy about our marriage. She just gave in to the peer pressure and called it brainwashed that she was a servant by her so-called friends. She stated that she was so sorry for how she treated me and the kids by having that affair. When Debbie finally woke up, she first refused to talk. She would just stare out the window. Then she slowly began acknowledging everyone, but she was distant. Debbie asked to speak to Isabel alone. When she came out, she told me that Debbie asked her if she loves me because she could see that I love her. Isabel told her that she did love me. She told her that I was the first man she had been ever since her husband died 15 years ago in Afghanistan. She asked me if Debbie was right. Did I love her? And I acknowledged it. This made her really happy. Debbie is going to be in a mental hospital for observation. The doctor told her parents that it could be a year, maybe 2, before she gets released. She may no longer be my wife or the woman whom I devoted all my love, but she is still the mother of my children, And I'm going to make sure that she gets better for the sake of our kids. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.